years.
And looking back, yeah, there was some level of just, this is too hard, or I can't deal with this. But you did, just to make it through to the next day. You just
Yeah,
did.
you live day from day to day.
And looking back, you think, holy crap! I mean, we've done it several times. Looking through all the pictures that we have of, attacks that he's had or whatnot, and
I broke down like a baby at one of our conventions. We were
And-
talking, and we had our slideshow of a lot of the
the scratches. and burns
scratches and cuts and burns and stuff I've been through. And I'd never really thought about that before because, like I said, when we were living there, it was just day to day. I just wanted to survive. I stopped thinking about getting out because it turned into more of, I just hope I live the next day. I hope I don't get burst into fire or burn or.
Yeah, because his mind always wanders to the worst of things, and yeah, so I can imagine you were thinking,
And so it was just a
she can do that
day-to-day.
to a candle or a toy or something, she can do that to me, and
In that convention, I just happened to look back at the screen. I just started watching all the injuries that I went through, and I just broke down because I really didn't realize at the time that I'd suffered that much with all the injuries. And it's kind of amazing how you can block a lot of
when
stuff
you have
out.
to get through stuff you do, you just fuck up.
I'm going to quote Lit Fest magazine. When you were asked about how people have responded over the years to your story, you said in an interview with them, as the story became more well known, people became more interested rather than critical. Do you feel that the public is more accepting now of the supernatural? And what do you guys think is the cause of this increase?
I think it's more accepting. I think one is just more out there. When we first came up with our story, there were, I think, Unsolved Mysteries and Sightings were about the only two shows that I'd heard of. Now it's, about every channel.
People can watch from the comfortability of their own sofa or chair, and nobody's got to be around, and no impressions, and they can believe or not believe, or open up to believing.
It doesn't seem to be as taboo.
Yeah, it's not
As it used
smack
to
in
be.
the face, or it's
There's more
out there.
information out there now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's more.
Everybody.
People are realizing it's more common than they ever thought it was, and so they're a little bit more open to it.
Which I think is a good thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, very much
To
a
the
good
community.
thing. The bad side to it being all out there is that everybody and their uncle thinks that they can be investigators now. And you get,
True.
newbies out there, they got a tape recorder and, a camera, and they think, I'm ready to go, I'm a ghost investigator. And they can actually do more harm than good, I'm sure you know, because
Yes.
they can stir things up
Mhm.
and not even realize what they're doing, and make it worse for the people that they're trying to help.
And it
If
gives the
you're in over
paranormal
your head,
thing a bad name.
yeah. If you're in over your head, acknowledge that and find somebody else that is a little bit more knowledgeable to help you and the
Exactly.
people out, because we dealt with a family in St. Louis that had that kind of a situation. They had a group come in, very old house, they stirred up things horribly, they moved, and whatever it was went with them. And they didn't want paranormal investigators in, they just didn't want to chance it because they had such horrible things happen after the last time. So we worked with them remotely for about a year and a half, 2 years. And things are better. Things are pretty well resolved,
Mhm.
good for everybody. And it just does a lot of harm. That probably could have been solved, a lot sooner.
Right,
So,
right. Do you guys feel that the Sallie house is more of a residual haunting or something like that, or do you think it's demonic?
yes.
I think it's both. I tend to be a little more demonic just from my experiences, and I know how it's reached out to us. And to be honest, I still have a pull to go back in there. I have to fight a lot to not go back in there because I don't know if it's the unanswered questions or just I don't
I
know.
think it's more than that.
Yeah, because it's affected me. I woke up in the middle of winter barefoot, standing in the snow at 3 in the morning over there. So
And without having, had walked over there, not having driven. So that's not just, that's an odd kind of a pull. You don't just wake up and go to the house.
but I'd say, yeah, speaking from our experiences, I would definitely say demonic.
Okay.
Well, and
And
like you said,
others. I mean,
not necessarily, I'm sure there's probably some residual there as well, but some sentient beings that are interactive, that respond. When I was investigating with, especially one group out of Kansas City, we would do experiments. We would this is what I'm trying to look for, intentionally misquote a birth date of somebody or something, and on the EVP, listening back, it would be corrected. So it was very interactive. You did have spirits of some level, whether they were pretending to be, that's really questionable, because, demonic spirits can present it as anything, anything that we were
Tricked.
from the beginning. We have found no legitimate records of there ever being a little girl by the name of Sallie that Atchison had. And we had a local researcher work with us for a while, and there's no records that can be had about a little girl that was treated there or lives there.
There's an African-American lady that was named Sallie, right? That they found?
Sallie Hall, yes. She
She had like a bunch of kids, I think.
She did, and when shortly after one was born, another died. She had I don't know, 12 kids or something like that. I don't quote me on that number. But sometimes they would bury them like on top of each other. Of course, back then the Afro-Americans did not have a whole lot of money. They weren't looked at very well, so they were,
Whole different part of the cemetery.
yeah,
Never kind
they
of.
weren't really marketed well. So yeah, we don't know that she had a daughter named Sallie. I'm trying to remember, the last child she had was 2 years old when it died. I'm trying to remember the history, but not specific enough that she would have had a child. And Sallie Hall, which is the name that we came up with, there was no age next to it. I had 6 possibilities, so it wasn't the Sallie Hall that I had come up with in my original research, because she lived to be, I don't know, 23 or 26 or something like that, the last historical records that we had. So
Did you feel like a mother to Sallie?
I did.
Like you wanted to be there for her?
Yeah, and I don't know if, and it could be a little bit of both, whether that was my, I love paranormal stuff and this is my chance to interact, or if it was, the motherly instinct that was obviously there because of my firstborn and having just been born. So I can't say which was more responsible, but yeah, I invited her, and it was, yeah, I don't deny it. And part of it was the first psychic that we had. She said, just scold her like a child, and tell her the rules and tell her she's to follow the rules. And I can remember when she said that, I said, well, how am I supposed to enforce her following the rules? Well, you send her to a room, and then basically hope she goes.
Right.
So
You can't tell if she is.
no, I'm hovering over mom and dad, watching what they talk behind my back.
Watch me go and do that.
You got to see the humor sometimes. It's the only thing that can get you through some of the situations that you go through.
She would go through the house just ranting and telling Sallie to behave and go to her room. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, what? Yeah.
Well, that's because I had to do that in front of my family who come from a visit. And you probably wanted to crawl under the table. You probably thought,
A few times.
your daughter's freaking nuts, and you deal with her. I'm going to sit over here. Because it was weird for me. I felt I knew her. I did feel some sort of a connection to her, and I don't know why. And even when we were
I think it played you as a new mother. And it knew exactly.
It took nothing to wrap me around its finger, whatever it was.
Now,
I'm sorry.
you both are paranormal investigators. Do you feel, having gone through a haunting personally, do you feel that experience helps you to be a better investigator since you kind of come from the other side of it?
I think so,
Yeah.
definitely. We're able to understand it a lot more, and I think my biggest thing is that I can show people you can make it through something like that, because I remember feeling so lost when it was going on to me. There just was no one to talk to.
Yeah, because you guys are a testament to that.
Yeah.
And it actually came out stronger.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
And I think a lot of times just to have somebody that you can communicate with or talk about your experiences with that's not going to sit there and look at you like you're
And I think
crazy.
we put it out there to so many that, we're open to anything. We're not going to, tell us their story. We've had countless people come up to us and say, you're going to think I'm nuts. No, because we've heard so much, we've been through so much in so many different scenarios, we've witnessed so much, on our investigations and such, that, and because we used to sit and judge, the Paranormal TV when we were, 20 years ago, we wouldn't think of doing that nowadays, because we know that just about anything is possible. You can't just downplay something or toss it out just because it doesn't fit your way of thinking.
It doesn't mean every case is supernatural or something like that. You have to be really.
Yeah, we've been on several investigations where we've debunked the air draft coming in on the kitchen floor underneath, or just.
I think we're just able to look at it a lot more aspects than what we would have been having not.
Yeah, like you said, it definitely doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it can.
And if anything, it helps those who are really going through the bad paranormal events,
Right.
to let them know that we've been there too. We know the frustration and all those
You're not alone.
emotions, and yeah,
I think it gives you guys an extra edge.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.